Michael from the Watch Preserve here today with country and folk singer-songwriter Mr. Charles Wesley Godwin, hot off of the show last night in Houston and just ahead of the show tonight at Billy Bob's here in Fort Worth. Charles, good to see you again.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out and taking a little time to chat with us. So, interesting story on how we met, actually. I guess it was around this time last year, kind of like August, September.
Yeah, it was like 13 months-ish ago.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I was setting up shop on a Saturday, just like today, and I got a phone call from a guy, and he said, "Hey, could you size a bracelet on a Daytona?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, of course we can. Yeah, come on by." And gave me his phone number, and was open right at noon. Come right when we open. And this gentleman walks in, and come to find out, actually that Daytona has a pretty special story, right?
Yeah, we played Houston the night before that, and it was our last show on the Luke Combs tour.
Yeah,
last year we were one of the openers for a stadium tour last year, and as an end of tour gift there in Houston that night, he gifted me this Rolex Daytona.
That's a hell of a gift, man.
Yeah, hell of a gift. And I'm a watch guy. Luke's a big watch guy. And I love it and appreciate it so much, and it's something that I'm going to wear, often, for the rest of my life and pass down to my kids.
I'd love to just talk about that, like the specialness of it, right? I mean, in a lot of your interviews, you're talking to, you're very open in your interviews, and I think your openness and relatability as an artist is one of the things that draws people to you. And you talk a lot about your family and memories and sentiment in your songs, but you also talk about specifically your time with Luke and kind of how you learned how to go to that next step of touring and musicianship and stuff from him. So what is it like to have kind of that physical representation of your relationship with Luke?
Oh man, it's so I'm relatively new to the watch world, but I do consider myself a watch enthusiast. Al, my guitarist, is as well, and it doesn't get any better than this type of stuff.
Right.
It's like watches with a story behind them and a purpose and a meaning, and something that has a lot of sentimental value, which this certainly does. And it's such a classic watch, and it's really something. So yeah, every time I look down at it, it's those memories.
Sure,
I remember that tour, and I think someday, hopefully, generations of my family, this gets passed down. And
that's the whole point.
To go with them,
Exactly. Around here, the watches with the story is half the thing, right?
Yeah.
All of our vintage pieces, who the hell wore them before they got on your wrist, and where did they come from, and what makes them special? Let's talk a little bit about your watches. Going back, it looks like you've always kind of had a watch on your wrist.
Yeah.
Even as far back as that first gig at the fashion show over in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember what your first watch was?
Yeah, my dad gave me a Seiko.
Nice.
Outside of I think I had an Ironman when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Because my brother was a long distance runner. He was like a national class long distance runner. We used to travel all around the country for his races. So anyways, this is in the 90s. So he'd have one of those Ironmans where he'd track his splits and stuff that way. And I think my parents just got me one too, just so it's even. It's even. And so that was technically my first watch, but my first real watch was a Seiko that my dad had given me. It was like a Seiko Kinetic Sport.
Oh yeah,
like 200, and Seikos are amazing watches. They work just as good as any other watch.
Smart man, Seikos are great watches.
Yeah, so I wore that Seiko all through my teenage years and college and my 20s, and then I've always been into watches, but I never had. I could never just afford to really buy watches for enjoyment. So once I actually had some disposable income and could kind of get into watches, that's when I started buying some watches.
Yeah. Did you have
I really enjoyed it.
Kind of like an occasion where you were maybe a gig or a life event where you were I'm going to go buy my first nice watch?
Well, the occasion for the first nice one was just having money. In general, to be honest with you, for the first nice one, and then now it has become, for occasions. So I got one the day I received my first gold record. Got a watch for my anniversary.
Nice.
Last year got my wife a nice one for her anniversary, And so things have, it's now become an occasion. I don't just buy to buy. But.
So what's in the watch box currently?
So I have a 2014 Submariner. That's the year my wife and I met. That was that anniversary watch. I got the Nomos Glashütte, like world timer.
Yeah.
It has all the different
new
cities.
one with the pusher on there?
Yes.
That's a great watch,
I
man.
love that
Nomos
watch.
is, I think, consistently, you talk about value for money and a unique design and really, really good movements.
Yeah.
That's a strong choice.
When they make all the parts there in that town. I love the story about that town. I like to visit it. But yeah, it's like a town of 10,000 people.
All
and
doing
just
watches.
The whole entire town is the watch industry, which is really cool. So yeah, I love that watch. I have a Oris it's this new Oris that they came out with a 5-day power reserve.
Oh yeah.
You know, which is a fun watch. It's got a beautiful blue dial on it, and a deerskin band, which I'm a deer hunter. I'm a hunter, so I love that. And then I have the Omega Speedmaster, and that was like my first nice watch. I have 2 Seikos from my dad. And then I got a Shinola Lake Huron, just because I've always been a fan of Shinola. I love those dark green dials that they have. So, and then I got this Daytona from Luke.
You really all across the board.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And you know, I'm sure, just like guitars, it'll expand as time goes.
Yeah, very cool. What was your I guess if you want to draw that comparison, it's like, what was your first guitar that you got? Was it like just something that was hanging around the house, or did you kind of make that decision to pick it up? Or?
Yeah, my first guitar was my brother's old guitar. When my brother was a teenager, he was like, maybe I'll try to play guitar, and he picked it up for a few months and just, it just he never got the bug. So he put it back in the closet, and it sat there for years. It was a Takamine Jasmine, a Jasmine Takamine. And I went to that one first when I was like, I'm going to try to play guitar. It was in 2011. I was in college, and I pulled that out of the closet and learned to play on that. And then my first nice guitar I saved up. I used to work at a golf course in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I saved up a whole summer and got a Martin D18.
Nice.
And that was my first nice guitar. And then since then,
you're self-taught on everything you play?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And singing too, right?
Yeah, well, I took voice lessons in college, but then she ended up telling me she taught me how to breathe and helped me warm up and stuff, but then she's like, you should just stop because you should sing the way you naturally do. Rather than she didn't want to mess with it. Which
honestly,
I really appreciate it.
That's really good advice, because in a little bit of my world, a lot of these voice teachers, everybody kind of has a sound they want people to kind of go for. So that's awesome that even early that on. She just kind of recognized, like, look, man, you got it. Just let's not mess it up.
Yeah. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. But what is it like? We talked about your career a little bit, if you don't mind. Like, what was that like, kind of making those first forays into writing songs, and how do you think your background and your life affects the music that you write?
I think the way I got into writing music was I was playing cover shows at bars and restaurants around Morgantown and West Virginia with my college band, and I realized in that process that I had a God-given gift. I had a voice that a lot of people just will never have. And so I realized, like, man, I'm actually I'm a natural. Like, I have talent. Like, I enjoy doing this. I should pursue it. So I was like, well, if you want to do this, if you want to go to the big leagues in the music world, you got to have original music. You got to write your own songs. So that's what made me start writing, and then that's where I really found a love for this thing. And now, I genuinely and truly could say, I love what I do when I'm writing the songs and creating them. When Al and I are making albums, that's the part of this that I absolutely love it. I love it.
Well, it's storytelling, right?
Yeah,
and I think
really
that's
do.
It's one of the reasons why artistically inclined people can really connect with watches, right? Because I think we all kind of get consumed by the romance or the story aspect of these things. Right?
Yeah. It says something about it, Something about it got me, because I never really considered myself I get, maybe I just didn't think about it. But yeah, I just love the songwriting aspect of it, and so from there, man, it's just been a passion and a love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And beneficial side effect has just been that it's worked out that we can do this for a living.
Yeah, I hear you. When you do what you love, it doesn't feel like you work a day in your life, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, dude, you've been on the up and up lately. I've been listening to your music a bunch since we met last year, and
Slow and steady.
I love seeing you crush it out there, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, just as we're wrapping up, I know that there's a West Virginia game tonight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, against
at Kansas.
KU.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
12.5-point dogs, but I like our chances.
There you go. Yeah. Well, good luck to the guys tonight, and hey, Charles, thanks so much for.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah.